Marjorie Taylor Greene is still working out some of her feelings after suffering a total humiliation at the hands of a couple of Democrats in Congress, but specifically Jasmine Crockett in the first day of her DOGE subcommittee. It was an all-out blitz on not just MTG, but Elon Musk corruption as well, and like I said, left. Marjorie Taylor Greene, pretty sad. She was in her fifes, she was in her feelings, she was all upset, and so she went to Newsmax to complain, and yet she melted down in one of the worst interviews I have ever seen. And we are going to get into that. But before we do, if I could quickly ask you to leave a like on this video. And if you haven't already, and you enjoy our channel, to hit that subscribe button. It goes a long way. And it really does mean a lot to me. Now, before we get into Marjorie Taylor Greene and meltdown, it only makes sense to check out what got her upset. That was Jasmine Crockett right here.
In fact, I'm trying to figure out exactly what it is that the Republicans believe our job is, because right now they have relinquished their constitutional duties over to an unelected bureaucrat, someone who no one went out to vote for. And absolutely, he is occupying the Oval Office, as we saw yesterday. And that is a first for me, to see someone occupying the Oval Office who's never actually been elected to the Oval Office, and actually answering more questions than the person that allegedly got elected. But for whatever reason, this is the first time we're having a DOGE subcommittee hearing, and that guy's not here. Instead, we have y'all. So I do want to thank you for coming. But I will say this. It's also interesting to me that in the first few days of DOGE existing, we know that they are trying to get rid of the Department of Education, USAID, Consumer Financial Protection Bureau. They're laying off FAA workers. They are going after the FDA, the CDC, the HHS, the FBI agents, and they're talking about getting rid of FEMA. And they brought y'all in. And I am going to say that I actually was shocked that there was only one person that seemed like he was an overt Trumper as you laid out your opening remarks, because I anticipated that at least one of y'all would say, yes, what Elon is doing is exactly what we would prescribe. But instead, I will applaud you, because you actually were focused. You talked about what the American people are looking for us to do. We've actually consistently on this side of the aisle promoted this idea of making investments into technology so that we can do things such as, say, look at the Department of Defense. The Department of Defense that takes up approximately 50% of our discretionary income, or our discretionary spending. Approximately 50% goes to Department of Defense. Department of Defense has not been able to pass an audit in the last 6 audits, and we're not talking about pennies. I understand that we want everything to be perfect, and if we could get all waste, fraud, and abuse out, that would be fantastic. But let me talk about the big numbers. The big numbers are on that side. When we look at, say, our entire workforce, our federal workforce, as we're trying to somehow fire all of them, they don't even make up a total of 5%. It's even less than that when we look at our budget. But let's talk about defense. That just happens to be the same side of the ledger that Mr. Musk gets the vast majority of his money from. In fact, at the same time that they were unlawfully, and we will stay in court, because on this side, we believe in law and order. We believe in, a number of us are actually lawyers, but nevertheless, we understand the Constitution. We believe in that as well. And so there's things such as, impoundment, right? Because as Mr. Whitson said, he said, we need to return the power of the purse to Congress. It never left. According to the Constitution, that's where it's at. Now, I know that people are confused right now because for whatever reason, we had a guy that went in, and you talk about people invading our data. Listen, people said that they were upset about TikTok, but I'm upset about the guy that runs Twitter, who for sure is doing nefarious things, because I don't understand, if you are trying to conduct audits and figure out where the waste, fraud, and abuse is, I don't know why you would go to some tech guy. In fact, it was only techies that were sitting there at inauguration. We didn't have auditors. I would welcome auditors to come in and do forensic audits. In fact, he sat there in the Oval Office yesterday and he admitted that he was lying, and he was using his propaganda machine to do it when he said that we sent millions of dollars to Gaza for condoms. That was a lie. So let me tell you something.
The gentlelady's time has expired.
It's time for
the
us
gentlelady's
to do our
time has
job
expired.
and rein in this rogue rogue actor known
The gentlelady's
as
time has expired. I now recognize the gentleman from Missouri, Mr. Burleson.
I can just watch that on a loop over and over again. I said yesterday, this DOJ subcommittee is like Congressional Christmas for Democrats. We get to call out Marjorie Taylor Greene and Elon Musk in the same committee with some of our best Democratic communicators. Like this is a gift that we were given. And it's the gift that keeps on giving. Apparently, because like I said, Marjorie Taylor Greene went to complain, and she had to watch those clips again and again, played for her. She was so angry. Just take a look.
The woman of the hour, Congresswoman Marjorie Taylor Greene, who chaired that committee today. Ma'am, to me, all I heard was Democrats saying, well, we need to keep spending money and stop asking where it comes from.
That's right. Democrats are more interested in defending the bureaucracy than defending democracy. They are so worried that we are going to actually find waste, fraud, and abuse and stop it that they are pitching temper tantrums left and right on my subcommittee. We aren't going to allow it to happen. We'll keep them reined in, but we're also going to do the important work that has to be done.
Yeah, well, some of your colleagues, your Democratic colleagues, are literally just screaming and cursing in all these protests. They don't have any arguments, but they're just saying DOJ is bad. Listen to California Democrat Robert Garcia in your hearing today.
In the last Congress, Chairwoman Greene literally showed a pic in our oversight congressional hearing, so I thought I'd bring one as well. Now, this, of course, we know is President Elon Musk. He's also the world's richest man.
This is so petty. And also, you were showing a picture of our current president, Joe Biden, his drug-addicted son naked, a picture that he took himself.
That's right. I was showing a picture that Hunter Biden took of himself, mind you, while he was trafficking women. And this was an investigation we did last Congress into the Biden crime family. But let's go a little bit forward there. Mr. Garcia from California has stated over and over again in all of his interviews that he isn't going to work with Republicans to save the American people money that has been spent to the point where we're $36 trillion in debt. No, he says that he's going to resist and he's going to fight me, President Trump and Elon Musk, on our DOJ committee and going forward this entire Congress. Well, you know, Mr. Garcia has small business owners. He has people struggling in his district to make ends meet. And he has people in his district that are fed up with the government absolutely failing them and overspending their money. So they'll make that decision when election time comes.
Congresswoman, I admire your restraint because one of the people you had to sit there and listen to today, Democrat, obviously, Jasmine Crockett. And, how is this happening? And I don't know about that, but this is what she had to say today.
I don't understand. If you are trying to conduct audits and figure out where the waste, fraud, and abuse is, I don't know why you would go to some tech guy. In fact, it was only techies that were sitting there at inauguration. We didn't have auditors. I would welcome auditors to come in and do forensic audits.
One of the people that Elon Musk has hired to do these audits literally wrote an AI program to decode the scrolls of Pompeii that no one else was able to do. I'd say he's qualified to do an audit.
Well, that's a little bit above Miss Crockett's intelligence level, so she doesn't really understand that. The reality is Democrats like Miss Crockett, Mr. Garcia, pitching their temper tantrums and not being serious about our national debt is exactly why we will win in the midterms. And, you know, if they want to get serious and work with us, I'm happy to do so. But if they continue to make fools and clowns of themselves, they're only going to make the case bigger for us that we are in the right, they are in the wrong. And having the help of Elon Musk, the richest man in the world, the most successful man in the world, we're honored to have his help. And this is exactly what President Trump...
It never stops being surprising or maybe upsetting, disappointing. There's a lot of words that you could describe Mary Taylor Greene with and her experience in Congress. Some I can't say on this YouTube channel or it would cease to exist. But I think you kind of read my mind that the type of words, if you commented them, you'd get a nasty message. So we're not going to say them, but we're going to think them together. But it's always surprising when you just realize how is this person elected to represent anyone. She is just outstandingly stupid, is just really the only way that we can describe it, and doesn't understand that. She is the butt of the joke that is being made of her entire party, the corruption surrounding it in the GOP attached to Elon Musk, and just how embarrassing it is that this is how Donald Trump's government has been put together, not just with as many billionaires as he can find, but the least qualified people in America to do the most important jobs in America, while they complain about DI and whine about meritocracy that they want, when it doesn't even exist in their own administration or their own party, which is exactly the point Jasmine Crockett was making, calling out the very unqualified MTG and Lauren Bieber right here.
I am tired of the white tears. Listen, if you are competent, you are not concerned. When I walk into Congress every single day, you know why I don't feel a way and why you can't make me doubt who I am is because I know that I had to work 10 times as hard as they did just to get into the seat. When you look and you compare me to Marjorie Taylor Greene or me to Lauren Boebert, there is no comparison. And that is the life that we have always lived. So the only people that are crying are the mediocre white boys that have been beaten out by people that historically have had to work so much harder. This is why they don't want us to have education. This is why they are trying to literally say we won't fund the HBCUs, because they know that if they've already gone after affirmative action and they're saying, you know what, don't allow them to come into, say, these PWIs, as we call them, don't allow them to come into these institutions. We know why they created the HBCUs in the first place. It was because they wouldn't allow us into the white institutions. And so now they're not allowing us in. And now they're saying, you know what, we're also going to defund the HBCUs. You know why? Because they don't want any more Kamala Harrises. They don't want any more Jasmine Crockett's. But I got news for them. I don't care what they do. We will fight to the end to make sure that we get our due. Because again, if you want to talk about the people that shouldn't be in this country, you probably need to look in the mirror, because the last time I checked, the Native Americans who some of ICE have been rounding up, or the Puerto Ricans who are absolutely Americans, listen, the only people that came and colonized this place are your ancestors, Trump.
I agree with Jasmine Crockett. What a shock that is. But seriously, it is embarrassing to have Marjorie Taylor Greene and Lauren Boebert be representatives of our country in Congress, and these people want to cry DAI. But they're like, I don't know what the Republican deranged day would be. D is definitely deranged is extreme. I is incompetent, I guess. That's Republican day for, Pete Heth. It's DUI. He's a DUI hire. But that's the day hire that are MAGA Republicans in Congress. They are embarrassing. They're failures. And they're a great tool for us to message with. And that is what we're going to do. And we're going to be doing it on this show every single day. And if you want to support that, as always, you can hit that subscribe button. You can leave a like on this video. And if you stuck around at the end, you can drop a blue heart in the comments. Until next time, I'll see you soon.